Hello, everyone. It's Valentine, and it's a pleasure to speak to you all again. Wow, I am amazed. I can't believe we even got to 100 subscribers. Thank you very much to everybody who subscribed, watched, listened, or even just simply viewed a video. I greatly appreciate everybody coming together and at least wanting to hear me speak for some reason or another. I would have gotten this out sooner, but there were some complications. I recently just bought a brand new computer, and at first, I simply needed a part to expand my memory, and then a whole bunch of other issues happened. I got the part, it got installed without too much of an issue, and the solid state drive, where I was keeping all my audios, all my projects, all my sound effects, pretty much everything I had on my other computer regarding pictures, assets, sounds, so on and so forth, recorded video, all got wiped. I don't know how or why, but that's kind of what happened. And it did change a few of my answers. I did record this entire thing before I got the new computer. And I was like, well, there's not going to be a problem. I'll just upload it after I get the new computer. Easy peasy. Not too much of an issue. Boy, was I wrong. So I'm having to re record it now. It's honestly not that much of an issue, but it has changed some of the answers and the way I want to give some of the answers for this video here. But again, I appreciate everybody who's tuning in just to listen or even subscribed or asked a question. I greatly appreciate all the interaction. I think it's very fun and not somewhere I ever expected to be doing this, mainly because I started on a whim and I don't really like my voice that much, but every day I get a little bit closer to and enjoying it just a little bit more. But I digress. So what I wanted to do before is I would answer the questions and then I would take a little bit of me time at the end and just kind of talk about things. This time, what I'd like to do is I'm going to talk about things as I go through questions. I have some stories and I'll ramble on. It is a ramble Q&A. So I'm sorry you're just going to have to put up with it for a little bit as I kind of get all my thoughts out. There's a lot going on, and my experience in ASMR has likely been a lot different than everybody else's. So we'll just kind of see and get there together. But let's start out with the first question. The first question is from Donnie Ferris. Do I listen to ASMR? And if I do, what kind do I listen to? Now, that's kind of a funny question. When I first started, I wasn't in the ASMR scene. I didn't know anybody outside of like a channel or two that I had heard one or two videos from. And now I do listen to more ASMR, but not a lot. For everybody that I met, I do try to listen to their videos when they put something else out. I do want to support them and all their content that they create to the best of my ability. But otherwise, I kind of just keep an eye out when I'm on YouTube and I do have some free time to see if there's something that catches my eye, or maybe there's a newcomer into the scene and I want to see how they're doing and support them by putting some numbers on their channel if I can. Really anything to help anybody else out, but it really just depends. The main thing I listen to nowadays for ASMR is mostly fantasy, a lot of narrative driven stuff. I'm a big fan of when the ASMR is like a film in my head. Um, as much as it is nice to have someone whisper sweet nothings in my ear and tell me everything it's okay, for me personally, I want there to be more going on. Now, sometimes, even before with the sweet nothings, you can still portray that in a movie fashion. I want, the care in the voice, the um, dialogue hopefully being pretty good. and I like sound effects. To be honest, I want to feel kind of like I'm there, no matter what kind of scene I'm in. If it's a fantasy piece, I love ambience. I think ambience is one of the most important parts, and why even for me doing fantasy pieces takes so long. Um, and just whatever can kind of put me in the spot as the listener in whatever I'm listening to. Um, which kind of leads into the second question, also from Donnie Ferris. Thank you very much. Congratulations on hitting 500 subscribers. A little bit before this video came out, but you're doing great. Keep at it. Had I ever tried acting before I got into ASMR? And the answer to that is frankly no. Outside of being a kid and running around outside with your friends, kind of like in your own make believe world. You're running through the woods, you got your sticks to be swords, and you are acting, as a knight or whatever character that you and your friends came up with, or even alone some of the time. Um, I never had any kind of official acting. I don't want to say training because that sounds too good, uh, but really any kind of practice. I was really shy growing up, and I'm a very energetic person. If you talk to me nowadays, I'm very happy-go-lucky, bouncing off the walls, energetic. I like to push a lot of conversation through. But as a kid, I was very shy, and theater was always really cool. But sadly, we had video games were a thing, and I much would have rather spent my time alone playing games than doing a lot of other stuff that I kind of wish that I did, but I'm not really that upset because I now hold value for those things now. Um, but I really do like singing, even though my voice isn't that great really at ASMR or singing in general. And I like to hope that it helps me learn to how to inflect a little bit. I like to think, or I don't like to think, but my singing is rather flat to me, and it's really hard to hit like these more passionate moments when I sing, and I desperately want to be able to get past that feeling of like I'm caged and I can't get this emotion out of me. And to be honest, ASMR is kind of helping me breach into those emotions. I do love film, and I'm going to ramble here a little bit longer, but I swear it is on topic to acting in general, as I've kind of already answered the question. But I love film, especially like 60s, 70s, 80s films. A lot of B movies, specifically B horror, but there are other B movies that just did not have the budget or even just people of high reputation within the films. And I absolutely adore things like that. A lot of the time, you get to see a lot of mistakes or errors and be involved in the process of how they were trying to go for a certain effect, or maybe they don't have great microphones, or really any sort of the bit that you're kind of put in their shoes of what they were dealing with while filming whatever it might have been. And in film, there I've always wanted to do a lot of it. I don't often have the chance to do the recording or, all the editing in the video that I would like to do for actual filming. But it kind of helped me when I'm doing studies or I'm thinking about the films that I want to create, even if they're just small little short films, how to reach those emotions or ways to project it onto the screen. And that's kind of helped me a lot with ASMR and method acting, if you would. I like to put myself in the mindset of the character that I'm playing, if at all possible, and just kind of have a personal involvement. Like, sure, it's not me as a person, but to help draw out the emotion and the feeling that I want to give. Like anger, I'm not very good at being mean. I don't know if anybody's heard my audios where I have been mean. I'm not very good at it, and I'm not really an angry person. So I really have to kind of set myself into the mindscape where I can be like that. and not actually be mad at anything. And it's kind of like a give and take. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But I like to experiment. So the next question is, how did I really get started doing ASMR? And that's an interesting one, as I started in a very particular way. I don't think many people started like how I did. It was kind of a whim, as I wasn't really big into the scene, but I heard some audios from Hana Audios, and they were girlfriend videos. Her uh, You Get Your Bully Pregnant series, I absolutely loved. Yes, it's completely degenerate, but it was it was really good. I listened to part one, and I saw that there were multiple parts, and I wanted to support what they were doing, so I subscribed to the Patreon and joined her Discord. I did listen to the other parts, and I think they're fantastic. And it kind of helped me see that ASMR as a medium could do a lot. You could build a lot of a character even through just a single audio about 20 minutes long and get some sort of attachment from it. And just seeing the story progress was like a film, as I brought up before. And I just really enjoyed that aspect. So I joined her Discord and I kind of just hung around, just a friendly face, say hello, talk to people every now and then. Really just kind of a lurker. I don't ever try to put myself out there too much. And one day, um, she was in voice chat, chatting with the other people who had subscribed to her Patreon, and I jumped in. And like I said, I am still fairly shy, even though I like to talk. And I don't like talking over other people, so I let them usually speak first. Anyway, so I would chime in every now and then. And she pointed out that I had a good voice and that I should try doing ASMR. And we had talked about it for a little bit. And she gave me some pointers and some guidance on how to get started. And one day, this was around right before Christmas, so there was a lot of holiday sales going on. So I went out to the store and I picked up a pair of DJI 2 microphones. Ironically, for another project on a different channel, but I won't get into that one too much. And we started using the DJIs, and there was a really good quality to them, but they are not for ASMR. And how I was editing at the start was definitely not for how you want to do ASMR. But I'll get back on point again. So I got the microphones, and it really came down to getting a script, which luckily she did give me the you call your mommy, or you call your mom, you call your bully mommy script, and just said, hey, you can gender swap it if you want. Go ahead. Well, not if I want, that I should do it. I was like, sure, fantastic. One of the things I didn't want to do was really daddy scripts. But I knew that it was a popular script for her and that it could help me out in the long run. I have more thoughts about this later on. But I found some basic scripts. They were relatively short. Um, and I recorded them. This does go into another question. So let me actually get back on track. That is how I started listening to ASMR and getting involved in the whole thing. So now, a question from Such a Sarcasm. Thank you. I love your work. You do fantastic stuff. How do I pick my scripts, and what makes me put it from the maybe pile into the must record pile? Well, when I was starting out, and this still holds true even till now, is I like to reread or read over a script, sometimes in its entirety, or really just the beginning portion, like a quarter of it, just to see if I like what it's about and how it is written. Usually I look for a lot of cute things. That kind of works a lot for me and my own style. But I do very much like experimenting. I don't always want to be putting out the same video. And a lot of the time, you'll see me not put out the same video multiple weeks in a row. If I have a depression comfort piece, I want to put out a happy video the next week, or a fantasy video. I want to take a trip somewhere else between all these different videos. But like I said, I'll read through a lot of the scripts early, and if I do like the premise, I'll go ahead and make a file on my desktop, and I do have folders. I categorize everything, and I toss it into my maybe pile. And once, let's say, I go through about 5 different scripts and I have to pick one to record, I'll go back to what I'm really feeling and what's jiving with me. It's really all just a matter of I'm feeling this right now. Sure, I like fantasy scripts or prom scripts. Prom scripts are really cute, but I don't always want to go back to prom, or I don't want to take all the effort that doing a fantasy script comes with, because there is a lot to take into account when running these scripts. I may not even feel that way. If I'm feeling sad, I might want to do a comfort script, to try to relate that sadness to someone else, that there is caring, and that while I might be able to feel, or that while I'm feeling down, it's it's going to be okay, if that kind of makes sense. And if I'm feeling overly happy and energetic, I want to do a script that matches that kind of energy that I'm feeling currently. That's the easiest way to describe how they get moved. But usually, I will also pull about 3 scripts out that I definitely want to record, and I'll pick likely 1 or 2 of them and record them. And the other one might get thrown back into the maybe pile. The time has passed. I'm not feeling in that mood anymore. And it just kind of sits there until I read over it again. And the pile just grows, to be honest. It just grows and grows. But sometimes I do pick up old scripts that I found early on that I wasn't ready for then and think I could do now. A sort of anonymous question that I got was, what was my process from recording, editing, and finishing? And to start with, I upgraded from the DJI mics. I also upgraded how I edit, so it's not as bad anymore. It was very loud early on, and I kind of feel bad about it, but I don't want to take the videos down or hide them because it is a part of my journey. Even before I got the artwork for Valentine, the character, I still wanted to put something out. I didn't just want to wait. I think I had 6 videos pre-done, and I was doing like 3 videos a week. I do not recommend it. If you ever want to get into ASMR, don't do 3 videos a week unless you have someone who can edit for you, someone who's writing for you, and you have nothing better to do, because ASMR is your job. If it's not your job, please, please, please do not push yourself that hard. If you do it just for the experience, sure. But it is not maintainable, I promise you. So recording, I use Audacity to record. I used to also edit in Audacity, but we'll get to that part when we get to the editing part. And I used Audacity mainly because I knew of the program ahead of time. I took several years of video editing class in high school. I love film, if I didn't say that earlier. So recording and cutting recording and video kind of came back naturally to me. It has been a handful of years since I had done it, but it came back to me, and it was kind of a trusted program, Audacity is. And it's as easy as just hit record and start talking into my mic. I don't do much anymore in Audacity. I just export the file as an MP3, sometimes a WAV, depending on what I need. That way I can move it into what I'm currently using, which is DaVinci Resolve. Very good. I just started using it about 2 months ago, I think. January, yeah. So around January time. And it was jarring at first to get used to it because I was mid-project when I decided to move over to DaVinci. And having to learn new keybinds was quite annoying to have to do. But it just offers so much more flexibility and there's a lot more useful options immediately apparent. I think anybody skilled on Audacity can still get the best results out of Audacity, but I am not that person. And I don't often have a lot of the free time to learn new editing techniques or just kind of browse around. Well, what does this button do? Which can be kind of, if you're not finding what you're looking for, it can be a little defeating that if you're trying to go for a certain effect and you waste, let's say, an hour or two trying to do that effect and it doesn't come out, it can be pretty rough. But luckily, the ASMR community, especially those there in ASMR Refuge, big shout out to their Discord, full of helpful people, from script writing, advice for voice acting, and even just editing and just other tricks. Everybody's so kind and willing to help out that it's truly amazing to just kind of see the ASMR community that I knew nothing about just work so well together in telling these stories. So now we'll get to editing. A lot of my editing process is I will record what I'm doing probably on a Monday. I try to plan on my weeks accordingly. My dog is upset. No, it's okay. It's okay. I just gotta record this real quick. Anyway, so I'll pet her as I talk for a minute. I try to record in a very particular style. Monday, Tuesday are kind of like my recording days. I do work early in the morning until about the midday. So there's not a lot of time when I get home that I have the kind of space that I need to record. So I will start recording and I'll go through whatever script. Usually when I read a script, I will go line for line, paragraph for paragraph, and I'll do it once, and then I'll do it again immediately, usually as like a first read, and then a second read, and second read is typically always a better read, and I try to inflect more, try to figure out what is this character talking about, and what kind of attitude needs to go in this piece. Sometimes I hit it on the first take, and it really works out. But usually most of the time the second time is the best, and if I make mistakes there's like a third and a fourth time. It really just depends on the line and how the day's going. I also recommend just having any form of water and or drink with you when you're recording, as you're talking a lot and it can be pretty rough on your throat as you're trying to get a lot done in a very small period of time. And a lot of my recordings, even like a 20-minute video, usually comes out to about 40 to 50 minutes of audio, just straight me talking into the mic like I'm doing now, just repeating the same lines over and over again and just seeing how it sounds. Once I'm done with the lines, I'll export it, usually as an MP3. I have everything categorized, again, as I said. So I usually have a file, so we'll just say fantasy video number 1. And I throw the MP3 in that file. And I usually save the master of that MP3 file, the Audacity file itself, and throw it in there just in case there was some particular problem. The last thing I want to do is lose the audio and it be gone forever, just like when my hard drive decided to die. There's no backing that up, sadly. So from there, I'll go into DaVinci, and I can go into the, I believe, Fairlight. We'll just call it the editing section. And I'll pull my audio in there. And I've learned several tricks from some good friends of mine now who are in the ASMR scene and continuously help me to this day on things such as gating and make sure my voice doesn't go too high or too low, and just kind of other tips and tricks that help me remember what I was doing back in high school and just new things in general that I never knew, which is always super cool to learn. But usually balancing audio levels will be the first step after I get my main audio in there. And then I'll go hunting for sound effects. I'll take the script. Usually if it has sound effects, I just go by the script notes. Sometimes this isn't always the case. Like a script might have sound effects included, but to be more coherent in the movie in my head, I need to find additional sound effects. And that's a lot more work sometimes, but it's also part of the fun of everything going on when I'm doing those kind of recordings. So usually I'll spend about an hour or two grabbing all the sound effects and everything that I'm after. Once I found all the sound effects, usually I'll take a break. This is usually on that Monday or Tuesday, the same day that I found and recorded the audio that I wanted to do. From there, usually I'll take about the rest of the week. My preferred way of uploading would have been on Mondays, every Monday at 9:30 Eastern time Central time for me, was when I would record, because that would be my first break during the day, and I could give out credit to the script writers on Reddit and post the video wherever I needed to post it in addition. So Tuesday onward is pretty much just straight editing. I used to edit for hours on end, like an hour or two at a time, and it's also very taxing. The whole product or process as you're going through it can be very taxing in general, just because you're doing so much work constantly, week by week. But I did learn from another friend of mine who has been helping me with DaVinci. Big shout out, you know who you are. That I should edit in 30-minute windows and just set a timer, hit the edit button, and just get focused. Don't procrastinate. Just stay focused to what you're doing, and you're surprised at how much you can actually get cut and done within 30 just straight minutes of focusing, not worrying about anything else. Don't care about messages. Just keep moving. And if you're feeling it after those 30 minutes, keep going. And maybe an hour passes or an hour and a half. And if that happens, fine. But if you start to get frustrated or start to slow down, it's okay to stop and just save your progress. And then next day or the next time you feel like editing, another 30 minutes and just see where you go from there. So after that, let's say I've done all the editing, I cut all the dialogue, I've done all the spacing, which can be tricky to do between like giving the listener the time enough to response, because I try to think about what they might say in their head compared to what I will be saying next as the reader, and then adding like a second or two sometimes. It really just depends on what you're doing and, well, what the next sentence is. So when I'm finishing up, the next question comes into art. That goes to your thumbnails, the character art, and anything else. For my videos, I have Valentine plastered across the screen. I have a great artist friend that I've known for many, 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 many years, who did the calligraphy of Valentine on the page for me. I'm very thankful that they took the time to do it, even if it only took a few minutes. And then comes assets. And this is something I do want to ramble on about for a little bit, because it is important to me. And a lot of my friends that I do know is AI, the AI in the ASMR space. A lot of people use AIs for their picture, and that's perfectly fine. I get not everybody can afford to have a character or even knows how to create a character. We all come from different backgrounds. And me coming from a writing background, I do love to write. I love to edit. I have a wild brain. It just kind of keeps moving and talking. And creating characters has kind of been my bread and butter for the last, I don't know, about 20 some odd years. And it's easy for me, but it's not easy for other people. But for me personally, I knew that the thing I wanted to do with ASMR was to promote artists and writers and anybody else who was creative during this process. Because really, without script writers, a lot of us aren't here, to be honest. We don't all have the time to write our own scripts or to come up with something to just be able to record it. The writers do a lot of work creating the pieces and getting them out there to the world just for you or me or someone else to come across and put our own spin on it. So I wanted to support them. So if you ever want like your own scripts and you don't have the time, I definitely recommend seeing if a writer would take commission and just kind of sharing your vision with them and trusting the process. Other than that, when it comes to art, I knew that I needed to get some artwork done, and Flush Noodles on VGen, and I will have their information linked below, and Oodloops, who has done my fantasy picture, Fantasy Valentine. I've known them for a bit of time. Flush Noodles I've known for about 2 or 3 years now, and they've done artwork in the past for me, and we just get along very well. So when I pitched the idea that I was going to start doing ASMR, I knew that their style fit how I wanted the character Valentine to look. And I think that's important, is that you want your character to fit the style of the audio that you're making. Generally, I'm a very friendly guy. So I want my character Valentine to be very friendly looking. Um, and so on and so forth. I do have different expressions depending on the type of script, so that way they can be used in the thumbnails. And again, I did commission Ood Loops for the Fantasy Valentine, because while promoting my personal artist, Flesh Noodles, over and over again is fine and dandy, I don't think it's very, I'm not going to say kind, but it's not really promoting artists if I'm only paying the one artist to keep making me work, or to keep doing work for me. So I want to find other artists, and I want to find more other artists. VGen is a great place to look. There are several Discords with artists in them for very specific versions of the Valentine character that I want to recreate. And probably, in like a year and a half, if I'm still doing it, I may want to just change up the original picture of Valentine, update it, get a new look, new clothes. The character evolves as I kind of grow up more. So once you kind of get your assets, and most artists are very understanding, people's experiences differ, and it definitely just depends. But there are just so many people out there who are willing to help and draw you exactly what you want for what you're doing. And at worst, all you have to do is just say, hey, this person made my art. And I definitely say you should always credit your artist. So then we get into thumbnails, which I frankly don't make my own. I outsource the thumbnails to the lady in the house, because if I had to make my own thumbnails, I would likely never put out a video ever again, because it just takes so long and I am not good at it. Speaking of thumbnails, I do have a slight ramble about it. Is that the ASMR space, I'm sure anybody who's here who has been in the space for a while knows exactly what I'm talking about. But a lot of the thumbnails are very samey. A lot of bold text, the character taking up 80% of the screen. And I think it's great. It works. It very much catches the eye for YouTube algorithm. But I didn't want to be limited to just adhering to those rules, and kind of just wanted to have fun while she's making the thumbnails. It is art within itself, making the thumbnail and getting all the assets put together. And then, finding out the right font, the color, how does it blend? And I do give my opinions. There are things I do get adjusted that I would like changed. But for the most part, it is a creative process, and I want to give them as much space and non-limitations to do as they want in those processes. I do want my videos to catch the attention of others, because that's hopefully why people are clicking on these videos. But I could go on about it. I just should say, really, if anybody's helping you at all during your projects, from your script, your artwork, or even editing in general, because not everybody wants to edit or learn how to edit, give them credit. It's really probably the only thing that they're asking for to help promote themselves. This also goes into, I have donated a commission art, and all of it comes from my pocket. I don't make any money off of any of this, so I do it all myself with the money that I do make from my job. So I do want to commission artwork for new up and coming, or even just other people who could use the artwork. Like I said, this goes into the AI thing of, I think you should be able to, after a while, if you have the means to do it, advance, kind of make a personality for yourself. Don't always use AI art in what you're doing. And if in any way that I can give back and help other people in the ASMR community for helping me and kind of helping me figure out what am I doing? What is, I don't want to say what is my niche, but there are videos that obviously perform better than others. But I just kind of like doing my own thing. And yes, I will do more things in the thing that people enjoy, but I also want to be able to enjoy the content that I'm putting out for everybody as well. But in regards to that, but if I can give to someone who's new, the means to kind of get started where there is a little bit of barrier of entry from microphone, artwork, whatever. And it's completely random. It's not like I have a checklist on who I'm going to pick or if I just have the money to do it. It just kind of as a whim comes up and, I'm just want to help somebody out. Anyway, we'll move on to the next question. So the next question is another kind of just generalized anonymous question of which is my favorite video that I've done so far. And that was a toughie. I changed the answer about 4 to 5 times in the original video as I kind of looked through the list of all the videos that I had made at the time. I felt it was too cheesy to just kind of pick my best performing video, We Belong Here, the prom one, as I do really like that video. I was just really tired of being at prom from the last time I made a video about it. Because making prom videos is ironically really hard when you have to find all your own non-copyright music that might be played at a prom. But I'm really glad that video did super well. And I wanted to make more male for male content. But I feel like that hasn't been my favorite video. To be honest, my favorite video, now that I'm looking at them all again, and it is, again, it feels too obvious to say, is that it would be when two paths collide. It's just a fantasy video. It's long, it's 27 minutes of just movie in my head. And I put a lot of work into the ambience and the things that I talked about earlier about what make fantasy videos take so much extra time is that you care about the sound effects a lot. Not everything is normal and mundane. You have to be very specific to what you're listening to and ways to some various tricks throughout the whole thing. There's a campfire part towards the end of the video where I actually fade out the sound of the campfire because I don't think it's relevant for the listener to hear it constantly anymore. You know it's there because I've already placed it in your head, but now the dialogue is far more important than the ambience of the fire that could get kind of distracting. But I kept the background ambience of just kind of the crickets at night because that is still important to the scene. So, in a nutshell, yes, when two paths collide would probably be my favorite video that I made because just so much work went into it and I was just so excited to record it. I'm really excited to record part 2. At the time where my computer, when I had lost all those files, I was in the process of recording another fantasy video that probably isn't going to see the light of day anymore. Not because it was bad, but because right now just going back and doing all that work, I feel like would be backstepping, and I need to go to a piece that makes me happy. And going to part 2 of when two paths collide is probably going to be that piece. It's going to take me longer to do, and I'll get to it more at the end of the video after I answer the next question, since that one's the last question. And then I'll go on from there. If I had to redo a video as an additional question, I think the video that I would want to redo the most is probably my first video. This might be The Perfect Night or Recharge. I think it's a great video. It's where I got started. It got me comfortable in what I wanted to do with ASMR. And I was just relearning on how to edit and do a lot of stuff. And good enough was fine for me at the time. And I really just wanted to keep the momentum going of working on a video, going to the next one, working on a video, go to the next one, working on a video. That I would really like to redo that one. And as much as I don't like doing daddy scripts all that often. I do think now I could do You Call Your Bully Daddy much better, and we'll probably end up doing it again, probably around the 1 year mark, because it is a great script. And I do like to get special artwork done for scripts that I do very much like, or I think are so exciting in my head that I want to go the extra mile on. So I'll have my artist draw out the whole thumbnail from there. And I feel like I can do much better on that script, and I'm willing to give it one more go. Now, for the final question from The Last Toad. Thank you for all your support. I know you comment on every video with the same thing. I very much appreciate it. Keep at it. What are my future plans for the channel? So, before, when I had answered this, it was kind of long-winded. It was usually just keep on moving on, you know, the same thing that I've been doing at this point. Now it's changed, actually. Changed a lot. Since I lost a lot of my stuff, it kind of made me realize what was important and the things that I wanted to focus on with ASMR. And honestly, it's not weekly uploads. If I can still hit weekly uploads, that's great. But I want to do scripts that excite me. I don't want to have 30 to 40 scripts sitting in a pile of I might get to these one day. Now it's cool, it's nice to have, but I want to do pieces that make me excited, because I'm going to put forth better energy and better effort into them, along with when I go to record them, it doesn't, or not record, when I go to edit them, it doesn't feel like such a slog. And editing is hard. There are people who love to edit. It's really hard to get going, which is why the 30-minute focus timer really helps. Because if you can get started, it starts rolling, but starting is very, very difficult. But like I said, I want to be able to take more time to put out a better product for everybody to listen to and enjoy. And if I can't do that every week, that's fine. I don't need to feel like I feel guilty about not being able to put out a video. I want each video that comes out to be something special, even if it's not for everybody. So that being said, I do have some future plans that I definitely want to do. One is I want to start writing again. I do come from a writing background. I love creative writing, writing short stories, writing long stories, writing characters. I don't have a lot of knowledge in script writing, but that's okay, because there's a lot of people who can help with that, and I can do my own research, luckily enough. And I would like to put out a series, more of an audio drama of my own, that I know for sure that I would like to do. And I don't want to talk too much about it, mainly because I don't want to psych myself out of it, if that makes sense. You know, draw too much attention, and then people start asking for it, and it's like, oh, it'll come eventually. It's like, it'll get there when it gets there. And if it gets done, that'll be great. But I need many other talents other than myself to do this, so it's going to take time. In reference of writing my own scripts, I would actually like to start writing them. I liked doing modern scripts purely because I was so shy and antisocial growing up and in my teenage years that I didn't really go out and do a lot of things. And I noticed a lot of scriptwriters take from those experiences in the scripts that they write, even if it's not a one-for-one translation. And I think as a writer, it would be important for me just to kind of experience and learn and write out part of my own experience, or create new experience through just writing and making scripts. I'm sure it'll be rocky, you know. It might be good, it might be okay. Some of them might be too short, some of them might be too long. I'm honestly not a very romantic person at all. So it's funny that I do a lot of romance-based scripts. I really do not like doing kissy noises for the microphone. So when I have to, it's always a bit of a chore because they always sound bad. And it makes me embarrassed every single time that I do it. But I like doing it. It's just doing ASMR is very enjoyable to me. And I like doing the scripts. So other plans. Let's see. Any other plans? I am still part of a production group. We were doing Dogs of War. The video has been privated for now, um, as the producer of the project left, but the project itself is still alive. But I can't really say too much, neither here nor there, about it. It's kind of a wait and see. I want to join in other projects. I don't mind lending my voice and helping. If someone came up to me and said, "Hey, we'd like your voice in a game. Hey, can you do a few lines for me just as a side character or whatever?" It's super flattering, and I would love to help anybody as long as the schedule kind of lines up and anybody just ask. It's You could be a new ASM artist and just send me a message. It's really not that difficult. I'm more than willing to help or just lend my voice if that's what you need. I enjoy what I'm doing and I want to help other people find a way to enjoy it. And then any other last future things about the channel. I have been asked if I was going to stream before. It's kind of up in the air. I don't know if I'd be willing to do it on my ASMR channel. There is going to be some gameplay attached to this. I know that this is the end of the video now, so why am I telling you when you've already seen the gameplay? I do not know. But I don't want this to be like some kind of gameplay channel where that's the important part. But I wouldn't mind streaming occasionally. It would be interesting to kind of do a editing stream or maybe like a recording stream. Maybe a gameplay kind of stream every now and then, just hanging out with any of the subscribers or viewers and just talking, answering questions, kind of like what we're doing now. I absolutely wouldn't mind doing that. I just don't want to say it's going to be a surefire thing to any extreme. I still need to take into account the people that I live with, and that I can't just procure a whole space for me to be quiet by myself. I usually have to record by myself. No one else can be in the room. The dog can't be in the room for very long. And I need complete silence, or I really just cannot get into it. And I feel the whole quality suffers because of it. But I think that kind of goes over everything. If there's any other kind of questions, please just put them in the comments down below. I have no problem answering them, and I would love to hear them for anything that didn't get covered. And for the next part is we'll probably do something at 500 subscribers. It likely won't be a Q&A. I'll do another video for sure. Will it be another ramble video where I just talk? Who knows? I kind of like doing it. I can ramble for a long time now. I'm almost at an hour. So I really should stop here in a second. But it might be an actual like video ASMR, but it could be a ramble video. I'd like to get some art done for 500 subscribers. And then the next milestone will be 1,000, 2,000, 5,000, so on and so forth, for as long as I'm doing this. And that's up in the air. Who knows? Could be doing it in a year. I could be doing it in 3 years. But I appreciate everybody who's stuck around and listened to me ramble. It was really cool to be able to chat and just kind of reach out to y'all without playing a character. It's just me being me. And I hope you all enjoy the videos in the future. I look forward to seeing any comments or just overall support, even for those who are quiet and maybe too shy to say anything. I see you, and I greatly appreciate everything that you're doing. And everybody who is able to comment, I greatly appreciate it, and just being able to reach out and try to comment back on every comment that I get personally. Thank you all for everything. Thank you for, I think we're at 120 subscribers now, so it's a little late. I never thought we would get here, so I'm hoping we can get to the next milestone of 500 and we'll just keep going from there. Anyway, besties, I hope you all have a wonderful day. Have a great week, and I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.